Okay. Let's go. Okay, let's go over to this one.
So
We're going over to Fox News, baby. This is Fox News. We got Douchey. Douchey is going to tell us some stuff. Um, so apparently Trump has made his response to Iran's response to their initial 15-point proposal. Um, and I think it had something to do with unleashing hell. Now, if you've been following me closely, that you've probably already heard this, but Trump says he's gonna unleash hell on people all the time. Like he said it about like Hamas probably 5 times. He said it about the Houthis probably about 5 times. He said it about Hezbollah, I think, a few times. And so now he's saying it about Iran. He's about to unleash hell. Uh, from the track record of all the other times he said it, I don't really think much ever changed each time after he said it. It's just a new round of bombing or whatever, maybe slightly more than they would otherwise, uh, but it really never has any actual strategic impact on the direction of the war. So anyway, let's see what Fox News have to say. They might have a different opinion, and I'll let the viewer decide whether they think my opinion is right or their opinion is right. So this is douchey. Trump might have to unleash hell. Uh-oh.
President Trump is holding another cabinet meeting today.
It's always exciting. Officials are expected to discuss topics ranging from DHS shutdown that's causing long security lines across the country, as well as the latest on Operation Epic Fury.
Peter Ducey joins
Epic
us from the White
Fortnite.
House with the details. Peter.
Good morning, and President Trump wants his advisors, the people in that cabinet room, to try to figure out how to wind the war down in the next couple of weeks, according to the Wall Street Journal. But between now and then, he might have to unleash hell.
President Trump does not bluff, and he is prepared to unleash hell.
Yeah, he does. He bluffs all the fucking time, dude.
Iran should not miscalculate again. Their last miscalculation cost them their senior leadership, their Navy, their Air Force, and their air defense system. Any violence beyond this point will be because the Iranian regime refused to understand they have already been defeated and refused to come to a deal.
And so far, the U.S. military's role in Epic Fury is getting good marks. The Fox News poll finds that 58%.
Fox News poll, really? This is very surprising to me. I don't know. Do Fox News polls go to everybody or do they go just to Fox News viewers? Because uh, they probably go to everybody if I had to guess. This is a little bit surprising to me, but I think that most people, this is going to change probably. Most people are not as tuned in as the Claytriots that come and visit this YouTube channel. Okay, so most people don't really see the things that I'm seeing, especially in terms of like the long arc of history or like the context that America is living through right now, and like. They're not seeing the individual military operations, number one, like the tactical things, like the F-35s being shot down, or I don't know, like the Iraqi militias blowing up like all of the military bases in Iraq or whatever. Uh, like they're probably not seeing a lot of that stuff. The only thing they're really seeing is the price of the pump. But then also they don't have the historical context that I offer to everybody here, in that America is an empire in its decline, and each one of these uh, like lashing out sort of failures, uh, like as they're unable to impose their will on Iran, for instance, in the Strait of Hormuz, or as they're unable to like defend all of their military bases in the Gulf states, or as they're like stealing interceptors from South Korea and Ukraine to send over to Israel, the one true ally. All of these things start to add up into a just general reduction of America's perception, both in terms of its military like effectiveness, which I think is taking a huge hit right now, but also in terms of like people starting to understand more and more that America is a declining empire, and like you need to start diversifying your uh like how your defense is going to work in the future. Um, so all of this stuff is like the things that I'm seeing. Uh, so I would be in the one only fair slash poor. I would probably be in the poor category of all of this. Um, but these numbers, as it becomes clearer and clearer, especially if we do boots on the ground and there's a lot of people that die, which I think there will be if we do some sort of ground operation, these are gonna swap pretty quickly, I think. Even if it is like the Fox News poll, which I assume would lean more Republican coded or whatever. But yeah,
think the military's performance has been excellent or good. And here are the bullet points holding things up, holding up the end. The U.S. demands of Iran: dismantle the nuclear facilities, have zero nuclear enrichment, constrain the missile development, and then keep the Strait of Hormuz free and safe. They also want them to stop supporting proxy terror groups. Iran is asking this of the United States. They want to guarantee no more U.S. attacks. They want full sanctions relief. They want the U.S. to pay some war compensation. And they want a new payment system for passing through the Strait of Hormuz. They also want the U.S. to pull out of Middle East.
So a lot of these have already happened, right? They got some sanctions relief, like limited sanctions relief already through military efforts because America has unsanctioned their oil. So they already kind of got that. Obviously, they don't have the guarantee that it won't be attacked again. They don't have this yet, compensation for the war. That's the $200 billion that I think we talked about earlier. A new payment system for the Strait of Hormuz. I think they're already kind of doing like you can pay a certain amount to get through if you're not a U.S. Israel ship, like flagship or whatever. And then the removal of U.S. bases in the region, they've already kind of done that too by just blowing them the fuck up. Like all of our service members are basically no longer in the military bases. They're basically empty at this point. Like all of them in the region, like honestly. So they've really already kind of accomplished this one as well from just military means. So basically 2.5, I guess. Well, I guess let's just say each of these are a half. So we'll say 2 out of 5 they've accomplished in total. Really, it's like 1.5 and a half. But yeah, that's kind of how I would see it. So really, they're just asking for a couple more things.
Eastern military bases. We don't know how many of those things are realistic, but the president still seems to think that both sides are close.
Nobody's ever seen anything like we're doing in the Middle East with Iran. And they are negotiating, by the way, and they want to make a deal so badly, but they're afraid to say it because they figure they'll be killed by their own people. They're also afraid they'll be killed by us. There's never been a head of a country that wanted that job less than being the head of Iran.
He loves this line, dude.
And this morning at 10 o'clock, 3 hours from now, this is going to be the first time that the whole cabinet has gotten together since Epic Theory started so that they can talk about the military part with the war secretary, the economic part and gas prices with the treasury secretary and the interior secretary and the energy secretary, and also the possible impact on food prices with the agriculture secretary. Back to you.
A lot of topics and a lot of people, and a lot of times it goes on for a long time. Thanks so much, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah, it looks like the president just tweeted or put this out on Truth Social. He said the Iranian negotiators are very different and strange. They are begging us to make a deal, which they should be doing since they have been militarily obliterated with zero chance of a comeback, and yet they publicly state that they are only looking at our proposal. Wrong. They better get serious soon before it is too late, because once that happens, there's no turning back and it won't be pretty.
Now,
first of all, if you're going to deal with Iran, you want them to be different and strange, because that means that they're not real believers, the ones that you're dealing with right now. That means they're afraid of dying. The leaders before weren't afraid of dying. They believed that they were going to get their 100.
That's a stupid analysis. Every single person in Iran, to some extent, understands their lot, right, of being subjected to imperial power right now. And I guarantee you, everyone in the IRGC, everyone in the command structure understands that there's a possibility that they will get killed and they will be martyred. And in fact, they have an entire, like, religious concept or whatever of martyrdom that is born out of the nature, like, that they are forced to create as a resistance, like as they resist empire. I've talked before about how religion can be used as a tool of resistance, and so they have created an entire religious like concept and idea around the idea of essentially, you know, having to die in order to protect your sovereignty. And so I will almost guarantee you that none of them are actually scared of dying. Like, when you're subjected to this much violence just on a like daily basis, and not just like this military violence, but also economic violence as your like daily existence, then you need a strong moral character to survive in that society, and especially to rise to the top of like, you know, the government and military establishment. I gotta go use the bathroom. I'm gonna let you listen to these bozos talk, and you can figure out if you like my analysis or their analysis better.
Or whatever, so virgins in heaven, and they believed in the ideology. I still think that when you talk with the sources inside of the administration, they still got some targets to kill. They killed someone overnight, but we still got some of those longtime leaders that are in place. Once they're gone, then we have a chance at peace, Brian.
I think they are. Like, for example, bin Laden talks about all that, but he was running for his life and hiding with an extraordinary resourcefulness. As you know, it took years to get him. All these guys are scared to death. They got 31 provinces. They're all fanned out, afraid to communicate with each other. Word is that the Pakistanis asked us not to kill the foreign minister, Arachi, because he was in the Israelis had his coordinates. They said, you can't kill him. There's nobody else to talk to. So there's other people to talk to, like the parliamentary speaker, but they seem to be somewhat unhinged. The success that we're having is really tremendous. But their big success is holding off the Strait of Hormuz. What our military is going to be doing, those two Marine ships and 5,000 Marines, they're going to be doing something with these islands in the Strait of Hormuz to get it open. In return, the Iranians said, if you do that, essentially, we're going to look to shut off the Red Sea, another strait there. That's where the Saudis have rerouted.
Yeah, they're going to do that, but also, like, this seems stupid to me because if you in any way like interfere with the Strait of Hormuz in a way that like Iran can't utilize it anymore as a way of exporting oil, guess what? That's just getting mined. Like they will actually do it, you know, like they will actually mine it, and then nobody's getting through it, and those mines will be there for like potentially years. Like it could take years, if not like decades, to clear or whatever. Like, you know, so yeah, and also mining a strait doesn't really take that much. It just takes a small ship like to go around and lay them or whatever. And so they're going to be able to do that regardless of what you do. So like I really don't think there is any way to actually open the Strait of Hormuz if I had to give my estimate, because even if you do a ground invasion, where all of our people will just be sitting ducks or whatever, getting blasted. Even if you do that, Iran will still just mine it, and it'll like be completely shut off for everybody. So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen here, because I do think there's going to be a ground invasion, but I just don't know like if it will be even possible to accomplish the goals that they want it to do.
A lot of their oil, they were selling 15 million a day. Now they're up to 8 million through the Red Sea because they rerouted. They also have things going through pipelines. They have a plan B. So the question is, that would get the Houthis involved. Would they be willing to do that? The Germans have come out and said, we'll do anything to push for the peace.
There's nothing stopping the Houthis from getting involved. Like, they are perfectly capable of getting involved right now. I believe that Iran specifically told them not to until they said it was okay. Because they want to hold that as a strategic card for later. Iran loves doing that. Like, they love holding strategic cards, like hitting the desalination plants, or like letting the Houthis, you know, loose or whatever. It feels so different to me than like America, which never feels like it holds any of its strategic cards. It feels like it just goes like everything everywhere all at once right off the bat. Like, so I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's funny, like trying to contrast the two strategies because they're so completely diametrically opposite.
The UAE says that we're by the president, that we're by America's side. We should not. They should not be in it alone, meaning us, because the UAE has been hit by more rockets, more attacks than the Israelis. And why? Because they represent free enterprise within the Arab community. They also have doubled down.
They hate us for our freedom, right, boys? Where have I heard that before?
Said we still plan
it's Iraq.
on investing
The answer is Iraq.
$1.4 trillion into American industry. So if those people who thought you were going to dislodge the Gulf states from our influence, just the opposite has happened. They're asking for more defense, more missiles.
That's their public statements. I've said before, their public statements are always going to be very like America-centered, like we are America's vassal. Please, Daddy, come vassal me harder. Like that's what their outward statements are going to be. I assure you that their like internal discussions are much different. I think they are incredibly pissed off in America. I think they will be thinking about strategically counterbalancing, maybe not with Iran because they also fucking hate Iran, but like with like China or something. And also potentially getting these, military bases off of their soil. So, yeah, I like you can't just take people at their word when they're, at what they're saying outwardly when they are just American vassals, basically.
Defense, bigger bases.
Well, when you look at what we're doing to Iran, they're definitely negotiating with us. They don't want that to continue to happen. We've destroyed 10,000 military targets. 92% of Iran's navy has been destroyed. We've damaged or destroyed 2/3 of Iran's.
Someone got her talking points. She's reading that, she's listing them off. Someone gave her the list of things to say.
Missile, drone, and naval.
Dear leader gave her the list of things to say to the boomer audience that still watches fucking cable TV.
Production facilities and shipyards. They're definitely talking to us because they want it to end. They're never gonna admit that on state TV. And there are reports that they decided no ceasefire. They're not going to work with us on our demands, the U.S. demands. And that Harachi, what's his name, Harachi, the minister, the foreign minister in Iran, he said that's not true. We're not talking to the U.S. But I don't believe it.
Yeah, so this is just her feeling, right? Her feeling. Which, like, no offense to her, but facts don't care about your feelings. to quote the Pope of the Jews, Ben Shapiro, facts don't care about your feelings. My analysis is never based, or I don't want to say never, because you can't like completely decouple analysis from, emotional desires and wants. But I do like to think that I keep my desires for outcomes out as much as I possibly can from my analysis. And like they are literally like they are ignoring so much to like from the very beginning, from like day one of this. I said that like Iran is going to like they are going to control the de-escalation. That was what I said. You can go look it up. I said that back on day one. They will not allow America to control the de-escalation this time because every single time they've done that, the United States has used that de-escalation and the time following it to rearm and prepare for another attack. So this time they are going to at least wait until the interceptors are gone. Like until the stockpiles are basically empty so that Israel starts getting hit real fucking hard. That's like my analysis. Unless America accedes to all of their demands, that's what they're going to do. So, and I've had that like assumption from the very beginning of the war. These like feel-good feelings that they have for our regime, they're not based on any sort of substantial evidence or fact. They are based specifically on feelings and the State Department fucking talking points that she is reading off right there. So, but yeah, I'll let this finish, see if there's anything else that happens. But
don't be on the wrong side of this. Our military is doing phenomenally well. The plan is extremely well planned.
Always a great sign. Always a great sign when you're doing that sort of reassuring to your audience or whatever. Great sign.
Out by Admiral Cooper and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Don't listen to people who just want President Trump to fail. This is too serious. And do your research because when the regime
the America last people. You know what? I guess that's me. He's talking about me, guys. Don't listen to me is what he's saying. He's saying specifically, do not listen to technically Clay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see who's right in the end. Okay, buddy. I think that these people are just living it. They're getting a little too high on their own supply. If they even believe what they're saying at all, and not just parroting whatever the State Department handed to her in that document.